The tourism numbers are in for Israel, and they are truly eye-popping. Israel welcomed 4 million tourists in 2018, smashing the record. It's an increase of 13% from 2017, almost a 40% increase overall in just the last 2 years. The tourism industry says 40% of tourists who came to Israel this year are actually returning visitors. Israel, perhaps explaining why, Israel invested $93 million last year in a radical and aggressive new international marketing campaign that appears to have paid a lot of dividends. With me now to talk about Israeli tourism, Elisa Moed, the CEO of Travelujah. Well, thank you so much, Elisa, for being with us. First, I want to ask about these numbers. They are shocking. 500,000 or so more tourists. That's 500,000 more from one year to the next. How did that happen? I mean, marketing is one thing. I mean, you have billboards and TV commercials. Does that alone explain it?
No, it doesn't. There's actually a lot of factors that are kind of converging that have caused this growth. I think first and foremost, overall, throughout the world, there's a very large uptick in the global economic environment. So tourism overall around the world has been about 7%. Israel, 11% in this, 13% in this last year. So that's number one. Number two, the Open Skies Agreement that was implemented a few years back is really starting to pay dividends. We're seeing so many low-cost carriers that are bringing people here. So the overall cost of a tourism stay in Israel is significantly less in terms of the flights, what they used to cost.
The numbers are up certainly from the U.S. and from the West, but they're really up in Asia, India, Asia, China. This region seems to be the big boon here.
Well, certainly in India, where we have removed the visa requirements, has had a profound impact. And in China, we are now seeing we have Cathay Pacific, we have Hainan Airways, so that's starting to bring more tourists from there. But we're also places like Romania, which is really under the radar. Most people are not talking about Romania, but yet it's over 100,000 people, double in the last 2 years. I mean, that's an incredible amount. We're seeing 60 flights a week that are going into Eilat, which is also one of the big reasons why we're seeing some more.
And also from the new airport that's opening.
And now the new airport exactly is going to be opening in 3 weeks' time, and they expect that to bring in another 2 million tourists. But it's being built over an extended period to be able to accommodate almost 4 million tourists over the next, few decades.
Lisa, in your expertise, is it hard to get these people to Israel? Is there enough accommodation for them? Do they have places to sleep? Can Israel, is a small country, can the infrastructure of Israel actually handle all of these tourists? Or is there a ceiling here?
Yes. You've hit the problem, right on the head.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I thought that was a good question.
It is a real issue. We have, I think, in total about 50,000 rooms, and we really do not have enough rooms. The problem we're seeing on a positive end, we've seen a lot of development, urban redevelopment in the hotel product. We have many more boutique hotels, which is great for an individual traveler like yourself or myself when we're traveling around. But Israel gets a lot of its tourism from Christian groups, from Jewish groups, and the groups are actually not being able to be accommodated. And there's an enormous amount of compression because you need 15, 20 rooms, 30 rooms for a group, and they can't be accommodated in boutique hotels, and we've not had any real substantial four-star, moderate type of product that's been built here.
Even look at Jerusalem. You have massive tour groups, Christian tour groups, Muslim tour groups from around the world, and it's the same hotels that have been around for decades now. And they're not building new ones. How do you...
We've had a few deluxe properties, but that's not serving the pent-up demand that we're seeing from really more modest 3-4 star properties. There's been some redevelopment, but very little for hotels that have the ability to be able to house groups. And I really stress that because you need to have at least 100 rooms to be able to house a decent group. And we don't have that. We're having hotels that are being built that are 50 rooms, 40 rooms, 30 rooms. And it's a different type of a traveler for a different type of experience that is staying there. But we are also seeing a lot of new hostel types of product, and that's bringing in many budget travelers along with the low-cost air carriers. So that has been, a boon. And we're also losing rooms, which I think people are not talking about, to Bethlehem. Bethlehem's maxed out, and they have the budget rooms that we really don't have.
Interesting stuff. Again, the all-time record is there, but there are certainly some hurdles that need to be addressed.